everyone, welcome back to yet another podcast brought to you by Galgotias Podcast Club. I am Khushi Awasthi, your host today. Today, we are joined by Mr. Missil, Head of Talent Acquisition at KPMG, who plays a key role in shaping how talent is identified and brought into organization. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Khushi, how are you?
I'm good. So, sir, I would like to ask that as a panelist, was there any interaction today that helped you understand more about your university?
Look, the moment I think I stepped in the campus, I was greeted by a student, so I could see student accountability coming in here. I did meet a lot of faculty members who did speak to me about how the courses are evolving, how the university is thinking around what they want to do next, how do they plan to evolve into a new aged campus with new programs running in, right? I think I got a lot of insight while interacting with some of the students talking about what they are actually doing and what they're interested in. I met the chairman as well today, the CEO as well, wherein he shared his views and thoughts about what's next and how he is really looking to evolve the university into a different space. So quite interesting insight. So yes, and I got to know what is there in Galgotias right now and what they're wanting to be in there in future.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, like now, my next question is, how do you see hiring at your firm evolving over the next few years, especially with the rise of AI and automation? Like, how should candidates adapt to your resumes, and how to approach? Like, what should they do?
Okay. No, I think hiring is going to evolve multiple folds, and the pace at which the hiring is going to change. And I keep telling my recruiters what you were doing 5 years back is no more your job in KRAs today. For student, I think with the advent of AI and technology, the scale at what we recruit, the depth at which we evaluate, and the knowledge that we now perceive is very, very different. So my suggestion to students are in today's context is be AI ready, right? It's not about a tool or a technology that they should be aware about. It is about, do they really understand AI? Do they really understand the way AI is helping you evolve into different work? Just think of a scenario in a situation. Today's podcast, the way say you are running it, right? How you can bring in AI to make it far more interesting. How the outreach of this podcast can be far more multifold, right? So every job that we do today as a student, you should apply the lens of an AI because that's what the world is doing right now, right? And if you're not future ready, it will be more of a catch-up game, and catch-up game in today's context is going to be far, far, far more brutal. Think about a scenario, cars model way back in 80s, 90s, चार brands होते थे, चार गाड़ियाँ होती थी. Today you see the world. You have one brand with so much of variation, with so much of technology coming in, right? And everything. Today you buy a car model, the next year it will change. Next year it will evolve. So that's the speed of change that we are talking about.
True. So, since many students are pursuing the same degree and they're all doing the same certification, so what should they do to stand out from the crowd?
Look, standing out, one is, of course, the way they communicate and articulate. Look, you have a knowledge base, right? But are you able to pass on that message back to someone else whom you're talking to, right? So that's basic, that's your bread and butter today. Having knowledge is important, but if you're not able to transmit or express yourself, the other person will not be able to understand your capabilities and skill. The second is, look, standing out means if you do this today, I think everyone else will be doing it. So rather than standing out, what is important that you don't get eliminated right now is again saying what organizations want, you should understand as a student. Okay, I think be prepared enough. A lot of students in today's context, they don't prepare before the interview. Gone are those days wherein you just research about a firm saying what is the revenue, who's the CEO, who's the CHRO. No, I think context is changing. What is the firm doing right now? And how does that serve my interest and aligns to my interest? So the conversations from revenue is now going to, it's a symbiotic relationship. What you have to offer, what I have to offer to you, and how do they match each other? So if you really do that, I think organizations will really value your input coming in. While we know as a fresher we can teach you anything, but do you have that mindset? Are you coming in with a specific thought process? How are you agile in today's world? Are you really working towards having a growth mindset? So these things, if you try and keep in mind, I think you will be able to give organizations what they're wanting to look in a talent in today's context.
So my next question is, do you think that corporate life is as lavish as it sounds to us freshers? And like, what's that one challenge that we all freshers need to encounter that we are not even prepared for?
Okay, lavish is a definition and how you perceive it. To a man who doesn't have a house, having a small house is being lavish, right?
True.
To a billionaire, when say so many houses, and still he pursues wanting for more lavishness. So it's up to what you want. I think what corporates give you is a good lifestyle. It gives you a lot of security to build a future, to have a good standard of living. So that corporates are definitely doing into this context. You could see the standard of living in India is absolutely increasing, and a lot of credit goes to the way corporates are trying to give you. The amount of cars that you see on the roads, right, today has increased because you paid well, right? The standards of living are increasing. So yeah, it's of course you have to invest back in the firm. The firm definitely will ensure the value of the work that you're driving out, you're equally remunerated accordingly to that.
Okay. So now my next question is, according to you, what's that one quality in candidate that is being undervalued in today's corporate hiring environment?
Look, corporate is a very, very broad term. If you talk about industry, I think one thing that is changing, it's difficult to pinpoint it, that, right? What we for sure know is, given the amount of talent pool that we have to evaluate, okay, we have certain thresholds, minimum 60% or at least 60% plus this much. I know there is a talent pool which at times for some reason go below it, right? And there could be a strong individual sitting out there, right? Uh, Education is not actually talking about how successful you will be in a job. Education is a threshold. And hence, because of that threshold, we know that there's some talent pool that we miss out there. So I think it's an industry wide challenge. Given the scale that we operate on, we are not able to go in there. But I think in the lateral world, they do play a catch up game. So if, my suggestion to people who are under 60% at some point of time for any reason, try and definitely get up your skills up, and I'm sure you will catch up on the market up soon.
Okay, so now I want to ask that, do you see a gap between how candidates perceive them and how organizations evaluate themselves, like evaluate the
A
candidates?
big gap. A
So,
big gap.
so like how can this gap be reduced?
Look, organization comes with an expectation, and I think predominantly a lot of students who are graduating out uh, typically feel that what I've studied is what an organization needs. While referring to my earlier question also, wherein I said, understand what the organizations are wanting versus trying to sell what you know. It's a marketplace where until the time you really don't know what your customer is looking for and you're trying to sell something else. I want a glass of water and you're trying to sell me a fancy pen. Will I buy it? The answer is no,
No.
right? So understand what the customer needs. Customer here is the organization who's coming to hire you. I have seen students not being prepared enough for interview. Last minute job, copy paste of CVs, same career objectives. If you're putting career objectives, today we are getting into an era, don't write career objectives, but write the work that you have done, right? Studying something, is that really what I want? But am I looking for some experiential learning that you're coming in? So curate your experiences to the organizations who are coming and trying to recruit into it. While I say that there's a great gap, but big gap, but I also see a lot of students who do pay in effort. So I'm not going to nullify that the entire community does not do it. I've seen brilliant minds who prepare exactly to what organization needs and try and get their dream jobs into their pocket.
Okay, so now my next question is like, what all mistakes that you see organizations are repeatedly making despite having strong HR teams?
Look, it's about numbers. It's not about mistakes, I would say. We do miss talents at time, and that's why we are implementing AI in today's context, so that we don't miss that space. So I think AI has a capability to give you a detailed analysis of things, right? Uh, Interview, end of the day, it also person dependent, right? If I'm in a good mood, and if you I probably ask you all the questions that you know an answer of, you're probably the best candidate of the day.
True.
There are certain human challenges that always comes with the way we operate in, but with a good blend of technology and good blend of human understanding, I think a lot of those gaps can be bridged.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Lovely talking to you, Khushi.
Thank you for your time, sir. Thank you for joining us today. Your host Khushi Awasthi signing off with Mr. Misal. Thank you.
Thank you.